first video fades in to show a player with a black skin. They turn to the right to see another player, this one with a white skin and a crown. This is Spectre. We know this because they've just sent a message. Can't believe it's been 2 days since we made the server. Yeah, I know, right? It's cool, TBH. When the person recording responds, we learn that their name is Frozen. The two discuss what they want to do in their world. Spectre suggests that they go get some wood, and Frozen volunteers. As he exits the house, we immediately see something a bit weird, a couple of wither roses in the grass. But Frozen does not seem to care. He picks up a sapling and stick on the ground with grass. The house, we immediately see something a bit weird, a couple of wither roses in the grass. But Frozen does not seem to care. He picks up a sapling and stick on the ground before throwing them away, and then proceeds to chop down a tree. Spectre suggests that the pair build some cool stuff once they get more blocks, but Frozen is not sure what they should make. He seems to like Spectre's idea. Night begins to fall, and Spectre sends a message in chat. Hey dude, did you move my bed? Frozen says that he didn't, but Spectre says it's not there anymore. It isn't in Frozen's inventory either. That's weird. It begins to rain. Frozen makes his way back to the house, where we can see that Spectre's bed is, in fact, missing. What happened to it? Dude, I have no clue. Fact missing. What happened to it? Dude, I have no clue. Whatever, just make a new one tomorrow. Dude, I have no clue. Whatever, just make a new one tomorrow. Frozen gives Spectre the wooden logs he collected, saying it's for the castle. He opens the chest to reveal a bit of an odd set of items, a bunch of chicken in stacks of varying sizes. Strangely, Frozen breaks a torch in the house and deposits it into the chest. Then, Spectre says this. Hey man, by the way, when can... Then, Spectre says this. Hey man, by the way, when can you come over to my house again? Frozen says that he doesn't know, he'll come over sometime. Then the players decide to get off the server, and the video ends. This video is called I Had So Much Fun Back Then, and it is at least slightly odd. This could just be how they decided to make their world. There is something to find in the description. A partially encoded message. It's pretty easy to solve, it's just a shift cipher. By moving each letter backwards 7 spaces in pretty easy to solve, it's just a shift cipher. By moving each letter backwards 7 spaces in the alphabet, the plain text can be revealed. Video extracted backwards 7 spaces in the plain text can be right. The meaning extracted from Stephen's mind. Wait, is that right? The meaning of this is not yet clear. But the plain text can be revealed. Video extracted from Stephen's mind. Wait, is that right? The meaning of this is not yet clear, but it does tell us that the person recording is named Stephen.
Oi, omae! 絶妙な立ち回り W.A.R.P ってやつ理解。
The second video is called It Almost Happened Again, and it too contains a description with a shift cipher of 7. We were just enjoying our high school years playing Minecraft together, just like this. The phrasing is intriguing. It seems to imply that this isn't actually footage from when they were playing together. Something about this channel is odd. Something about this channel is odd. We're playing together. Something about this channel is odd. Is different, indicating that some time has passed. The players greet one another, but before they leave, Spectre says something. By the way, why didn't you come over to my house, dude? They leave, Spectre says something. By the way, why didn't you come over to my house, dude? But Steven totally ignores the question, instead saying that he hates the rain. But Steven totally ignores the question, instead saying that he hates the rain. This seems to confuse Spectre, but he responds by telling Steven to just come over soon. As the players leave the house, we can see that there are quite a few more Wither roses than last time. In the cave, they begin mining some coal. But as Steven begins to break an iron block, something strange happens. Steven unlocks the recipe for iron ingots, despite the fact that he's using an iron pickaxe. However, there's a more subtle oddity that just occurred. When Steven breaks the iron ore, it drops raw iron. But that shouldn't be possible for this iron texture. Minecraft 1.17 added raw iron at the same time it changed the iron ore texture. Thus, this specific combination shouldn't be possible. So why are we seeing it in this episode? In fact, if we pay close attention, we can see another strange thing. A sign on the cave wall. In crimson text, it says, "You have to stop pretending." However, neither player seems to notice this, and they descend deeper into the tunnels. Once again, the player's progression is kind of strange. They've built an entire staircase down into a cave, but they've not mined any of the ores down there. The players reminisce about a classic Minecraft parody song, "Don't Mine at Night." They begin to sing the lyrics in the chat. Don't mine at night. Their mining continues next to a lava pool, and suddenly Spectre falls into it and begins burning. Steven quickly pulls a water bucket from his inventory and saves the day. In this moment, we get to see Steven's skin. It appears to have an identical crown to Spectre, but obviously with a dark skin. Instead of a light one. Suddenly, there's a disconnect sound, and Spectre freezes momentarily. Yet it does not slow their progress. There's a brief dark screen accompanied by a clicking sound. Thanks. Then the video ends. In many ways, this video is much stranger than the first one. The players interact in a somewhat odd way, ignoring what the other says and saying things that they don't remember. There's the anachronism with the raw iron, and a chest bizarrely devoid of useful items. And what about the disconnection sounds we hear? But more unsettling are a pair of messages directed at Steven. The sign on the wall that says, "You have to stop pretending." Then there's Spectre's message he doesn't remember sending, "You have to move on." Something is going on with Steven. Remember, the first video's description said that it was extracted from Steven's mind. Now, messages in the world are telling him he needs to stop pretending and move on. There must be something wrong or inaccurate about what we're seeing. But what? But perhaps these strange things wouldn't be happening if Frozen had a better PC, and if they did need one, they'd surely want something with a unique case and design. And there would be no better place to look than today's video sponsor, Ironside Computers. There are PCs. Click on the link in the description. The following video is entitled, "One of the Strings Came Off." Steven is in the wilderness. His hotbar is in a rather odd strings came off. Steven is in the wilderness. His hotbar is in a rather odd state. He now has diamond tools, but he carries a lone torch, with no food to speak of. Furthermore, he has a whopping 68 levels, an extremely difficult number to achieve at this stage in the game. As Steven breaks some trees, we see a small cobblestone structure in the distance. In fact, this was in the previous video as well. Now though, it has an additional block on it. Steven turns around and we can see that the house is different. There's the addition of black and white concrete on either side. Now there are tons of wither roses. Steven walks right through them without taking any damage. He follows them to a path he doesn't recognize. Who made this path? Probably Spec. The path is winding and scattered. Steven moves along it until he reaches a deep hole in the ground. In the depths is a dense cluster of dark blocks. We hear a low sound. And a second when Steven peers over the ledge again. Don't go downside. Spectre has appeared. He begins to speak. Don't go down there. Once you do, come back out. Steven stares for a few moments and then backs away, telling Spectre, okay. Spectre walks off into the look for some coal. While Steven doesn't, Steven cave, placing his only torch. As he begins to mine coal, we can hear that the cave sound has some reverb. So this happens. In this episode, we begin to see the house change. Spectre's side Steven follows up the house change. Spectre's side black. Steven follows a path of wither change. Spectre's side. In this episode, we begin to see the house change. Spectre's side becomes white and Steven's side black. Steven follows a the house change. Spectre's side becomes white and Steven's side black. Steven follows a In this episode, we begin to see the house change. Spectre's side becomes white and Steven's side black. Steven follows a path of wither roses to find an unnaturally dark cave. Spectre warns him that it's impossible to escape once you go down there. Then, Steven breaks a coal block and falls into a deep hole made of sea lanterns. The following video picks up immediately thereafter. A deep hole made of sea lanterns. Steven is back in the house, shaken and mystified. What just happened? His items were black concrete, but there was no death. Since the house, we can see the white and black concrete has expanded. Spectre? Yo? Dazed, Steven dashes into the wilderness, searching furiously for his friend. Spectre? There's the sound of thunder, and Steven comes across a redstone structure floating above a lava lake. A player named Pomons joins the game. Who are you? Pomons has a red skin, and they begin to speak. Well, that was quite easy, and here I thought this guy was smart or something. What? How did you? You have to shut it down. What the are you talking about? You know this isn't right, Steven. How do you know my name? I'm gonna ban you. This is the only time I'll ever be able to talk to you, most likely. But that's up to you. I'm making you leave right now. Goodbye. You can't ignore it forever. Pomons approaches Steven, and we can see that they have fly mode. You have to move on and stop this madness, and the madness of keeping him here. Get out! I'll be watching. There are a few brief flashes, and we see something white in the distance. Then, Pomons leaves the game. Steven shakes his mouse in frustration, and the video ends. His mouse in frustration. Once leaves the game, he flashes, and we see something white in the distance. There are a few brief flashes, and we see something white in the distance. This episode is called Un invité non invité, French for an uninvited guest. The mysterious player's name is Pomons, which actually means help in Polish. Steven is approached by a player who wants to help him. Pomons says that Steven has to shut it down, that what he's doing is not right. He tells Steven that he can't ignore it forever, that he needs to move on. Cave was also written by Pomons. It has red text. Chance that the sign in here. The only other character it could be is Spectre. In some way, Steven is refusing to let Spectre go. It's implied that he only exists in this world because of Steven's decisions, actions which Pomons says are madness. Steven is pretending about something, creating a reality that does not exist, and Pomons says it's time to stop. However, the specific truth that he's avoiding remains somewhat Pomons, saying that he'll ban. During the conversation, we hear a sequence of beeps. Look at the channel username. Then the display name. If we include the dash, this is the correct length for an unlisted YouTube video. But it doesn't work on its own, and none of the 27 possible shift ciphers do either. For the moment, this will have to remain an unsolved mystery. Description contains a simple code. A equals 1, B equals 2. Begins with so on. It decrypts to poor Steven. Pattern of black and white. He begins to speak. The only wisdom is knowing that you know nothing. I like that quote. Why did he have to break it? Break my... Steven types illusion, then erases it. He types fun, and then erases that too. Despite his initial resistance, the words of Pomons have affected Steven. Steven exits the house to find that he's beginning to understand what he's doing. Steven exits the house to find that there are now two groups of flowers, dandelions on Spectre's side and wither roses on Steven's. The house is now almost completely concrete. As he enters the woods, we see that the cobblestone structure has been expanded a little more, but we don't get a good look as Steven turns and walks in the other direction. There is some sort of red building in the distance. Perhaps this is Pomons continuing to watch Steven. It's everywhere on the path. Steven approaches the dark pit. The darkness has expanded. In a void, trapped by invisible. The video fades out, and Steven suddenly finds himself in a void, trapped. Maybe this place isn't so bad. Slow. I can stay here for. To do nothing and blame himself, he could stay here forever. Hey, I need to be able to get out of. Suddenly, to get out of. It seems as though he didn't actually jump into the void. Suddenly, Steven has considered what would happen if he did. But Steven decides to slowly back away. Video ends. Spectre, and Steven is in the process of reconciling with it. When Pomons confronted him with the